works.
That is how I also get dressed, Adam. I just throw myself in clothes and roll.
Sling yourself at the wardrobe and then go, oh yeah, that don't work.
Welcome to Encounter Roleplay, and welcome to the season finale of Tentacle Tuesdays, Call of Cthulhu. Let's go around and see how everyone is doing today. And why don't we start with the Master of Ceremonies himself. Dear darling
Hey.
Will, how you doing?
Greetings, one and all. Yes, I'm doing good. I've managed to get rid of Gareth for the finale, which I'm very happy about. But
Finally!
I know.
God,
yeah,
that
guy just
fucking guy.
kept
God,
showing up.
I
Really didn't get the message. But I'm good. I'm excited for today's finale. I've been doing some plotting, some planning, some scheming, and some memeing, and I'm ready for today's episode. We're gonna see who makes it out of this. I really don't know who's gonna make it actually. So this is gonna be as fun for me as it is for you guys, as horrific for you guys. So yeah, we'll see. I'm excited.
Amelia, do you think you're going to escape today?
I don't think so. She's Laura's is doing Laura's doing all right sanity wise, but I'm not sure the will is there now. I think she's she's going loopy in other ways. This has all been a bit much for her. Plus, Carcossa. What are the chances of getting out alive anyway? I'm a realist. Anything above that is just a bonus.
And Lindy, I'm not so convinced you even want to leave Carcossa, right?
What? Me? I don't know about that. Maybe. I mean, it seems nice enough. But yeah, I'm Lindy and I'll be playing Elsie Clark, definitely not an art thief, just an art critic. That's it. That's maybe slightly insane, even though I apparently have the highest sanity. It's, there's all sorts of insanities, right? I'm sure that will demonstrate that to us today, and I'm very much looking forward to it. Even if I am a bit under the weather, this game's gonna keep me going.
And I think the only person who truly knows what is in the heart of Carcossa, the wonderful Adam.
Yeah, we're well fucked.
Okay. How are you doing today?
I'm really good, yeah. Because Hank's sick, I actually have like the slimmest of slim chances of making it out of this hellhole, but it's still like, like a plankton in the mouth of a whale. It's that kind of arena of survivability. No, because I had no chance before, because Hank's only interaction really in the finale would have been his decision vis-a-vis who got to escape. And it wouldn't be fucking me, would it?
We had just armed him with a plank of wood with a spike in it, so
yeah.
That didn't work. I used up a lot of crits on that.
That's true. Speaking of crits, there are a number of ways that you at home can interact with today's show. Firstly, for free, you can hit the retweet button and let people know we are live. Tell people that the tentacles are here to be found, because we know what people on the internet like. And we will unleash some wild magic surges. I'm going to say if we hit 20 today, we will do 2 wild magic surges, because I am feeling extra wild magic-y today. And if we hit 30, then we'll do even more, because more fun is always more fun. You can also hit the clip button when we do crazy things, because I feel a mega mix of the best of RPG is going to be coming forth at the end of this season, where we share all of the things that we don't want the internet to remember forever, because that's the way it goes. You can also check out the donation options down below. You can give crit fails, crit successes, twists of fate, boons, banes, and of course, as ever, absolute power is there for you to claim. But why don't I hand over to Past Charlie for one last time on Tentacle Tuesday to tell you a little bit more about our sponsors today. Before we begin today's show, I would like to take some time to remind you about our sponsors. Fantasy Grounds, a virtual tabletop of choice. All of the beautiful maps and rolls you see tonight are done using Fantasy Grounds, which you can try for free at fantasygrounds.com. You can also get all of your miniatures from Wayland Games. Go to waylandgames.co.uk and get yourself a huge range of D&D, Warhammer and 40k minis for up to 20% off regular retail price. And Tabletop Loot, who sell incredible dice. Go and check them out at tabletoploot.com.
Viking Charlie in a helmet.
The many incarnations of past Charlie. But
Plague
thank you so
Charlie.
much to sponsorship
Yeah.
Charlie, telling us about whaling games, fantasy grounds, and of course tabletop loot. Is there anything else for me to say at this point? I don't think so. I think it's about time we get tentacly with it.
Yeah, let's do it. Alrighty, so I'll remind us what happened last time on the show in case you missed it. It's up on YouTube. Go watch it. It's a lot of fun. Although it might be a tough watch because it involves Hank getting roasted essentially at his trial. The investigators are acting as judges in the Yellow King's twisted and bizarre courtroom drama which was unfolding, and many witnesses were brought to the stand to testify against Hank to prove that he was the most despicable, worst, and therefore most artistic in the eyes of the Yellow King person there on stand. And just about they sort of managed to make that case and then make that decision as the judges. And at the very end of the episode, the Yellow King has revealed himself to the investigators and said that he's about to go and meet them in his throne room, as it were, in his chambers, because it would seem, now that they have solved the riddle of the Festival of Fear, that they may very well be able to ask a favor of the King in Yellow. So let's see how that goes. So he's just about transformed, and we're in this courtroom as the investigators stand on the very edge of their sanity, staring at this being. Now, I need everybody to roll me a sanity check to begin today's session. And on that note as well, we may as well do our first Tentacle Tuesday poll today, right, Charlie? To give those viewers a chance. Yeah, you want to use a nat 20? That's an idea.
Yeah, we're seeing the King in Yellow. I'm using a nat 20. This is going to be a big dump.
Bear with me a second. If someone wouldn't mind rolling my sanity check for me while I do the poll.
There you go, then. I can pass your fucking sanity check, though. No wonder. Your fucking sanity, I have got you covered, darling. Don't worry. My fucking sanity, forget that shit. What sanity?
Well, is this a gain or a loss poll?
Let's do a loss, and then we'll do a gain at the end.
Right,
That
so
seems
let's
like
do
the wrong way
3.
round in almost every way.
It's a finale. I get to set the rules.
Oh, good. I gained 5 sanity at the end of the finale.
when I was at minus 50.
Do I get to level up as well? Because that sounds wicked.
Alright,
Yeah.
there we go. So, exclamation point vote, space, and then 0 for Wilkes, 3 for Virginia, 2 for Law, and 1 for Elsie. I have no idea why this poll has listed that in such a strange way, but there we go.
It's all right. Moldark does
The order is
as he pleases. Do we want to have a quick check-in on our current sanity scores as well? Because my totals may be slightly different. Lord, do you know what your current sanity is?
I believe I am on 34. That's what's on my
34, nice
sheet.
and high. Nice and high. Okay, what about you, Elsie?
42.
42? Wow, Elsie's doing fine. What about you, Wilkes?
87.
Lies.
No, I don't even know. Like 24 or something. It's ghastly.
I had down 22.
Oh, the 22. I might have lost.
Maybe you gained. Maybe you gained. Yeah.
I doubt I gained any. That doesn't sound right. Based on the fact that the second the sanity loss poll comes up, it's like a wall of zeros. I can only assume I did not gain any.
Okay, what about you, Virginia? What are you sitting pretty at?
I have 32 written down in front of me, but I
32.
don't know if that's true.
Yeah, okay. Well, I had 35, so if you lost 3, that would make sense. Okay, who raise your hand if you passed your sanity check. Oh,
I crit.
congratulations.
Oh, I did.
Yeah,
'cause,
you did?
I'm on
Okay.
the-
My hand isn't raised. I'm just holding my vaporizer.
Alrighty, so if you pass, we're gonna roll a D10 for you. So
Oh,
let's,
get fucked! Hang on a second. What the hell? That's the pass?
Yeah.
Yeah,
You
it's
don't.
the King in Yellow. That's why
I'll
I
tell
used
you
the
what-
crit.
That's the sanity damage rolls.
I'll give you this, Adam. If you wanna retroactively spend a crit, knowing that
No,
this may
those
be,
crits.
something you're up to.
Up here.
Okay.
These are fake. I don't have these anymore. I use these for.
Oh, they're gone. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's remove Adams and one from Elsie as well. In that case. All right. So Virginia, you will lose 5 points of sanity. Law, that's 7 points of sanity for you.
Ooh.
Elsie, that will be 6 points of sanity for you, my friend. And then, as I did this afternoon, look up the stat block for Hester, the great old one. If you fail a sanity check, if you pass as a D10, it's a D100 for that.
Any great old fucking cunt, innit?
All right.
I'll roll my D100. Let's get below 22. I got 32. I'm on minus 10 sanity.
There we
I can't even write minuses on this sheet. Okay, good.
Okay, so that is where we're looking at right now, I'm afraid, because sanity, when you look at the king yellow.
Great.
Yeah, my understanding is.
I can write that in. Fantastic.
There are worse places to be. Actually, no, there aren't, because
what, worse than irrevocably insane? Oh, sick.
Right, yeah. Because when you hit 0 points of sanity in a Call of Cthulhu game, you have essentially quite lost, seeing as the character has gone utterly insane, and is now essentially a member of my Chaos Chorus. But that's not the end for Wilkes yet, seeing as there's a couple of things happening that Hester is pulling off. But I'll put us back in the scene. So you have just watched as the flesh has melted off of the gangster who was being assumed the form of by the Yellow King, and suddenly all else around you becomes blackness, and all you can see is this figure before you. His overall form is the guise of a colossal, boneless, bleached humanoid, slack-jawed and drooling. Though you're unable to take in his whole image, his eyes hold hints and dreams that bring madness. You look right into the thing's eyes. They are empty and grey and deep as the ocean. Endless, timeless, utterly alien. You fall up into them, falling through space, falling down and up at the same time, falling forever and forever. And something is waiting for you, and you know it must not find you. The thing is impossibly different from the way we are, but it has you, and oh so gently touches your mind, and you are changed. Supplicants, I have been watching you for some time now. I hope you have enjoyed your stay in my kingdom. Through the eyes of my mimes, I have seen much of you and your scheming. It has pleased me greatly to watch your attempts at escape and your performances. I have decided to keep you in my court. You are most welcome. And suddenly the falling stops, and again you find yourselves in a room, a space that you can identify. It's most clearly a throne room, and now the creature is sitting upon a vast yellow throne, and you find yourselves all kneeling before him. It's spoken to you, and now all of you at least have a temporary insanity, and most likely we're looking at permanent insanities at this point, and Wilkes now is essentially a gibbering mess on the floor, though...
I plan to soil myself.
Yes. Oh, no doubt. You've done that multiple times at this point. And this creature gazes at each and every one of you, and it's almost impossible to meet its gaze. What do you do?
Felt like I was pretty clear.
Right.
I might cry as well if that helps.
Yeah, there's gibbering and crying going on, lots of soiling. I think for the most part, everyone else is vastly unaware of everyone else around them, aside from this being which you stand lay knelt before. And thank you, Mr. Odin, who's given a twist of fate for the professor from Agatha with big hugs and kisses. So,
yeah? Is that right?
Yeah.
Okay.
So the twist of fate is essentially the sort of lifesaver, lifeline, fate point. What happens, Wilkes, is while you're falling, you see the ghastly image of Agatha crawling out from the darkness towards you, and she holds you in her arms for a moment, a comforting warmth which surrounds you, and away from the gibbering place that your mind was at, for a moment at least, you come around, and for all intents and purposes, you have 1 point of sanity from this.
Excellent. I'll write it in. Hold on. I'll write it in time to lose sanity in a second from the poll. I'm going to need to roll a 0 on this D6. I'm excited.
I will give you, you know what, let's roll a D6 of sanity for you. I'll give you 4, so you got a chance.
50-50 chance, I'll take it.
Yeah. So Wilkes has sort of come around, though, as I mentioned, by and large, most of you seem completely unaware. It's as though you alone are in this space with this king. And strangely enough, through the terror and the falling, now you feel this utter calm for being in its presence. The fear and the terror dissolves, and quite rapidly, your mood changes from one of, as I mentioned, absolute terror and shock to this blissful, peaceful calm while it looks at you.
I think Elsie is enraptured, yet this is a king of this wonderful, magnificent place we are trapped in. So she would bow. That would be her first inclination, is to pay reverence.
Mm-hmm. You can sense its gaze upon you, and you sense that it is pleased from this act of obedience.
I think Law is unfamiliar with subservience like this, and she'll be looking at her own legs, at the position she's in, not sure why this feels so strange, and looking up at it. That lack of familiarity, that lack of comfort, I think if it was anybody else, she would immediately be standing, her eyes just blazing towards it, locked on it. That in itself is submission enough for her, I think.
What is Virginia doing at this point?
I think as the calm kicks in, she suddenly feels more herself. And although she can't bring herself to look like directly at this creature, she kind of looks in its vague direction. You know, I really didn't mean it about the lemon cakes, Mr. Manganello. You really should come by. I mean, you know, I could do coffee cake. Do you like coffee cake? And she begins kind of gibbering about this plan for them to have like a nice tea party. And, you know, I really can invite those people, and we can, you know, talk to your friend at the New York Times, and maybe Elsie will come.
I'm going to
Doesn't
be
seem to
scratching the
bear
yellow
much attention.
line in the floor in front of me, and my hand. Because I assume I'm on 4 sanity. I'm only barely clinging to sanity, right?
Yeah, oh, absolutely, yeah.
Yeah, so I'll be scratching the sign in my hand and the floor with my nails.
It speaks to you first, Virginia, though no one else hears this. You alone can sense its presence and its voice. And it says, "Do you wish to return home, wherever that may be for you?"
I was rather attached to it. Took me 3 months to pick out a house with Nick. I mean, not Nick. Nick's my lawyer. And she has this moment where she's like, wait, who am I again? It's a real nice place, though. Looks out over the water.
You could make a home here. upon my lake. Build it as tall as you wanted, as many slaves as you desire. Your lovers, friends, family could all be returned to you.
What's the weather like here?
The scene around you in the throne room changes swiftly from bright burning sun to rain to ice to a cool breeze. And the creature says, "Whatever you desire."
I just don't care for storms, you know?
It gazes upon you, boring into your soul. What does it find there?
I think Virginia is very much thinking about the life that she'd always planned for herself that never ever quite worked out. There was always some part of it that was wrong. And she's thinking, hey, he says I can have whatever I want here. And so she's thinking about, getting the dog and the white picket fence that doesn't blow over in an autumn storm. And, all of those things that she wanted but never quite worked out.
Mhm.
And I think she's trying out the idea of his gangster form as like the husband that she's delivering the perfect dinner to.
Yeah.
But there seem to be like little glitches of confusion about things, and sometimes like Hank will be there, and sometimes her husband will be there, sometimes the lawyer's there. As like the little insanities are clicking through of like what was real, what wasn't real, who do I care about, who don't I care about type thing.
Mhm. You look around and you find yourself in a house. It's upon a lake. The breeze is beautiful outside. Its sun is shining, and there are a little rose garden outside that you remember planting not too long ago, and they're just now coming into bloom. Over your shoulder, there's no one there, but you can hear a voice. Is this what you want?
It's like you can read my mind or something.
Anything you desire is possible in Carcossa. Do you understand?
Why would you do a thing like that?
I treat my subjects well.
Do I have to be a fish person? I mean, I met the captain and the guy at the lighthouse, and they were all fishy,
You may assume whatever form pleases you.
And she kind of wanders up towards the like porch at the front of this house, and she kind of looks at it, and she imagines like a variety of pot plants and like tries to manifest them, and is slowly like redecorating a little bit. Keeps finding things that she doesn't like or like that she wants more of, and she keeps trying to add to it. But she seems to be kind of settling in. She's kind of like, this seems like a sweet deal, is the thought in her head.
Yeah, it's as though every little detail of the perfect house and little things changes that you might have made to it are manifesting before your very eyes. So if you imagine that there's a doorway in this place, or it's an open kitchen, etc., then they suddenly seem to appear before you, and this voice over your shoulder, you can sense its presence right there, and it's as though it's the most fantastic architect which is able to create as you imagine. And it says, "Do you see what is possible here? You need only use your mind, and reality will bend itself to your will. Tell me, what can you imagine?"
I don't know. maybe I'll suddenly be more interesting than just the girl who maybe killed her husband, you know?
Yes. And suddenly there are accolades, awards for all types of different achievements that you've done. Nobel prizes, and like sporting awards and all sorts of things. There's a cabinet which you keep there, and you remember winning all of these things, and you remember how good it felt when you achieved them, and how very accomplished and how very fulfilled your life has been.
I always was a good swimmer. And she's like looking at the award for like Olympic swimmer type thing. And she goes, I think I'm gonna go for a swim in my lake. It's a nice day out there. Not a cloud in the sky, huh?
You still sense that familiar, calming presence just over your shoulder. And it says, "There is a small tithe I demand. You understand, nothing is free in this world or yours."
I always helped my husband with his taxes. For a banker, he wasn't very good at them.
I require your assistance in a small matter, which I think you will be very, very accomplished at.
I mean, sure, have you seen all my awards?
If you succeed in this task, this will be your life for eternity in my kingdom.
Sure. What do you want me to do?
I'm sending you back to your world, and I need you to tell everyone my good word. Tell them of Carcossa. Tell them of the wonders of the mind and imagination. Is that something you could do for me?
Sure. As long as they don't move in next door, I like the view.
Thank you, Virginia.
Thank you, Mr. Manganello.
And with that, the presence leaves you in your house as you go for a little swim in the lake. Back in the throne room, those who may be paying attention to what Virginia is doing will notice that she is lying flat and unconscious on the floor now, as though she were asleep or perhaps dead. You can't tell if she's breathing. Elsie, the creature, looks at you, and you're pleased that it's paid attention to you first above anyone else, because it's only just been a few moments since its arrival. It looks towards you and speaks. Elsie, you have been my favorite. How does that make you feel?
Honored. Pleasantly surprised.
You have impressed me. You have an appreciation for art that is rare amongst mortals.
You could say that again. People just don't understand its intrinsic value isn't monetary.
Quite. And yet there is one whom you have ventured with, whose only appreciation for art is monetary value. You know of whom I speak.
Yes.
Tell me. What should be done with him?
She thinks about it for a moment. She doesn't dislike him. She just, he could be better. And so perhaps he could be, I think really it was his upbringing. He was very poor. Poor people do have a tendency to cling to the physical, monetary things in life. Perhaps if he could be re-educated to understanding what art really is, he'd have a bigger appreciation for it.
Perhaps
Such a
you could
crime
show
to not
him.
appreciate it.
Tell me, how would you re-educate? Use your imagination. Tell me, what
She
does
thinks-
Elsie imagine?
I think she imagines Reggie as this is Elsie, it's so awful, as like Oliver Twist. Like, please, sir, can I have some more? But instead of him begging for food or money, it's he's begging for art. He's not needing for anything, leaving his mind open to appreciate the creative side of life, not just focused on base needs and necessities. Showering him with she's just thinking of images from museums, sculptures, just a grand tour to show the wide variety and breadth.
Yeah, you're, and you find yourself as you're imagining this, as it unfolds before you. You're the tour guide in this museum, and you're its opening night, and a gaggle of interested art lovers enter in. As you open the doors and welcome them inside, there's quite the hubbub of excitement, and you feel this calming presence just over your shoulder, and you can tell that it's leading you onwards, goading you onwards, and pleased with you. And as you begin to show around the guests these different exhibits, you step into one of the rooms, and Reggie is there. He's tied up. His knees, his feet, and his hands and arms have been nailed into what looks to be essentially a crucifix. And he is being fed various different pieces of artwork, let's say. And the art is quite clearly made from human flesh and perhaps animal organs and flesh as well. And the interested guests, oh, this is quite interesting. Please tell us more about this one.
So this exhibit we call gluttony. It's rather peculiar how hungry people can be for things other than art. Therefore, here you see, perfect example of someone who has little to no appreciation for it as a subject and only its monetary value, being spoon-fed exhibits to try and get a deeper appreciation and understanding. If you truly understand it, it can nourish your soul, and that is what this gentleman here is receiving. Nourishment and encouragement.
Very good, very good. I understand. Quite artistic. Has he learned his lesson yet, or will he ever?
Well, not everyone can be taught, but if you have an open mind, anyone can learn.
And the presence on your shoulder says, "Is this what you want? To teach? To make them understand?"
She kind of looks over at Reggie and fed this interesting buffet, and she kind of thinks for a moment. She is about half sanity currently, so she's starting to teeter a bit. Well, that is why I write reviews, art critiques, so people can learn about the wonderful beauty that is art. And textbooks, yes, I do enjoy teaching.
Yes. In Carcossa, you can see all art that has ever existed and ever
All
will
art?
exist. Yes. You need only imagine it, and it will come to you.
She immediately thinks to certain lost pieces of art, certain, rumored Van Goghs that were supposed to have existed, but no one can find, and...
Right. They appear before you, hundreds of them, in a vast museum, a great library of work which you and no one else, perhaps save the painters, ever saw, let alone probably didn't appreciate at the time. And you find yourself in this huge gallery. Taking it all in just brings tears to your eyes when you see it.
Yeah, she's definitely glistening, a couple probably full. She's just almost overwhelmed by what she considers the highest form of beauty.
Would you like to spend eternity here?
Yes, I think I would very much like that.
I thought you would. But you see, there is a small tithe I require.
Yes?
Every king must charge his workers. And Elsie, I need you to teach. You see, the others, while gifted in their own ways, lack the clarity and appreciation that you do. They are not leaders, but you, on the other hand, possess a certain quality that I find most attractive. I need you to go back and teach about Carcossa, of this artwork. Can you do that for me?
Yes, I could write novels, volumes, countless pages from what I've seen here.
Good. Very good. And with that, we return to the courtroom. Again, those paying attention would see that now Elsie lies on the floor, cold, unbreathing, unconscious, or perhaps dead. But Law, you tell me whether or not you've noticed that, because this creature's presence is almost all-consuming as you stand perhaps 10 to 15 feet away from it. Its gaze has turned towards you, and you can feel its eyes boring into you. And you hear its voice speak to you, and you alone. Lord, I have watched you with some interest for some time now. Tell me, how have you enjoyed Carcossa?
I've enjoyed it more than I am comfortable with. I think
Its slackless jaw is unable to make a smile, but you sense that it is pleased nonetheless. What was your favorite bard? Was it the doctor, perhaps? I thought you might like it.
yes.
What did you most enjoy doing to it?
Not the end. It felt like a child giving up a toy.
Well. In Carcossa, it never has to be the end. And before you, crawling from underneath the robes of the Yellow King, comes Dr. Stoat. He's a little worse off than last time you saw him, but still, it's clear that he's been tortured for maybe now years. The scar tissue across what's left of any skin on his body looks purpled and bruised beyond belief. It is a pathetic, non-human being which you're looking at. It crawls towards you, but it's not making any progress because it's incredibly slow. It has the nails in the back of its head where Hank drove it through, but still it moves. See, I'm very careful with my toys. I can fix them back together.
Do you have more?
Endless. And you find yourself now walking down a set of stairs into what's most clearly is a dungeon in the very medieval sense of the word. You can hear the screams of dozens upon dozens of wailing victims below. And as you reach into this room and step inside, you see that there are about a dozen or so mimes who are working intricate and devilish instruments of torture. They are your crew. You remember when you hired them on and when you taught them how to do your craft just the way you like it. As you enter, they stop and bow to you. There's a presence just over your shoulder. What would you like to play with first? There are all manner of victims around, from humans of all age ranges, shapes and sizes, to creatures and animals.
That's one. I point to a human.
Mm-hmm.
The face
You
of my
step
father.
towards it. You step towards your father, and the mimes offer you the wide array of torture tools which you have in this dungeon. What would you like to start with?
We start small. This place was too obvious. Start small. I take a very, very thin blade. and approach the man and very gently turn his hand over and pull the skin back under one of his nails and just start very slowly inserting the knife.
His screams of agony are like the most ecstatic screams of ecstasy and pleasure that you've ever experienced. And the calm presence on your shoulder watches on, occasionally prompting you with new tools or new acts which you didn't realize were possible before, but were perhaps even more dastardly and devilish than those that you could fathom. By the time your work is done, you're not sure how long it's been. It could have been hours, it could have been weeks. And the feeling of having accomplished the most troublesome and yet at the same time enjoyable task overwhelms you. Of course, a human isn't dead, not by any means. But you've had your fun playing with this one, at least for a while. The voice over your shoulder. Would you like to spend eternity here?
Making music here. Yes.
Such a sweet symphony you have created for me. And you'll create many, many more. But first, there is a small tithe one must pay. A service that your king asks of his subject. Are you willing to perform a service for me?
You should know as well as anybody. It depends what it is.
I offer you this, an eternity here, making music. In return, all I ask is that you return to your earth for a time and spread the great music which I have shown you, for others must hear it. What say you?
How long is the time? I can only work with blunt tools for so long.
Time is irrelevant. You will have an eternity here. I promise you that.
Yes, please.
Good. I only have one more of you that I need to deal with before I eat my heart. And with that, we're back in the throne room. And Professor Wilkes, you find yourself alone. Your fellow investigators around you lay cold, possibly dead, on the floor. You scratch the yellow sign over and over into your hand and onto the floor for what seems like an age. And the creature's gaze finally rests upon you. You hear its voice speaking to you, and only you. Professor Wilkes. How unusual for one such as you to find yourself in my kingdom. And yet, you are the most knowledgeable of all of your co-conspirators. Tell me, how have you enjoyed your stay in my fair kingdom?
It is exactly as it was supposed to be. Illusion. And despite a cancer for the mind.
Truer words never spoken, Professor Wilkes. Tell me, at what point did you know that it was all over?
It was over when I first came here.
Wrong.
It was over when the mark touched my hand. And it was over when I read from the book.
That is where you are wrong, Professor Wilkes. You see, I have been watching you. All of you. The very day you were born on your Earth. I have set out the roads before you, the choices in your lives, so that you might one day find your way to Carcossa.
Determinism
Now
is ghastly.
that you are home, Professor Wilkes, your time to become your true self has come. Tell
Explain.
me, Professor Wilkes, there must be questions unanswered that you wish to understand.
You offer knowledge that would lay the mind like a blasted heath.
Yes, there are always questions with types like you, Professor Wilkes. And types like me are here to answer them. If only you dare to ask. Do you dare ask me a question, Professor Wilkes?
We have already gone way beyond the point that you are unaware of what I will answer. Your game has been just that, and whatever you have offered them will be comparable and illusionary.
I have
What
offered them
guarantee?
nothing, Professor Wilkes, and I
What-
offer no guarantees.
So, as always, we are required, I am required, to trust in the word of a creature not of kin or kith, to speak the truth of questions I might have. What guarantee that you would not lie if all you offer is answers?
As I said, Professor Wilkes, I offer no guarantees, but I already know the questions. You see, Professor Wilkes, you are right. This is a game. Ever since you entered my kingdom, I have been with you in mind, body, and soul. It seems you are still wise enough. There is still a thread of your mind left. Perhaps you will allow me to unweave it for you.
I have no will to fight you. There is no way to resist you. Do as you will.
Good. Then you understand that now and forevermore you are mine, wholly and completely.
I have been yours since beyond conception.
Correct. The only difference now is that you know it. You understand it. And you accept it. Because you see, Professor Wilkes, the others, they are foolish beyond comparison. Their intellects are like ants, insignificant, tiny. They should be stomped out. But, as you understand, better than the others, I like to play with my food. And so, I have led them along the merry path they wish to tread. And they think themselves to be in control. But you know the truth. That once the yellow sign calls, it forever calls. Professor Wilkes, I have a task for you and your companions. You are to return, changed, broken, and yet alive. And you will spread my word. Do you understand what I am telling you?
It is not a confusing point that you make.
Good. Then you will get what you wished for, Professor. You will go home and teach, as I have always wanted you to do.
Yes, that is the best we could have ever hoped for.
I'm glad you agree.
And with that, your three companions rise to from their slumbers to consciousness. For the three of you who have been in other places, let's say, it's only been a few moments, it feels like, since last you were here, and yet you've lived weeks, years, decades perhaps, within Carcossa. Tell me, what have you been doing while you've been spending some time here? Virginia, you've had however long you wish, whether it be weeks, years, or months, however long Virginia wished to live here. What has she been doing with that time?
Before I answer that question, we did just hit our retweet target, so we have 2 wild magic surges to give out. You can do this randomly, Will, or you can just roll them yourself and assign them, or you can just assign them and...
let's just randomly do it. I'll roll a d4 here. 1 Virginia, 2 Law, 3 Sebastian, 4 Elsie. Oh, apparently I can't roll a d4. Are you kidding me? Alright. Well, I'll roll a d6 and work it out from there. All right, that will be Elsie, and then let's try this one. Well, that was Elsie as well, so we'll give that one to Sebastian. Yay, numbers.
Okay.
Wild magic can be good in a situation like this. Like we've been telling you guys.
Oh, I bet I'll be immune to ice and like crystals.
yeah.
I'll gain a special ability to smell the color of rainbows.
Your right toe is just slightly smaller than it was.
I'm not quite as scared in traffic now.
All right, put the roll command for Fantasy Grounds into the vmix chat if you guys want to copy that. And
Oh, this is like a
give us a roll.
D10,000 or some bullshit.
It is a
isn't it?
D10,000. So let's this roll.
Hang on, that
space
command's
1,
slightly wrong, I think.
Is it
Will.
flash roll?
It's slash die.
Slash
Oh, you're
die.
right. That's why it hasn't been rolling. I'm an
Appropriate.
idiot. That's right. 1858. Elsie. Oh
Right.
my
What?
God.
Oh,
Elsie, roll me a.
What? Hang on. What?
You need to put the D in it.
Yeah, I didn't roll 10,000. It's
Okay.
Hold on. Hold on, everyone. Hold on, everyone.
Elsie,
Adam
roll me a
forgot the
D4.
D. It's okay.
Okay. D4.
What is this shit?
Do you want me to
Four.
roll it for you?
Come on. I'm literally supposed to write.
I'll roll it. I'll roll it.
Yeah, I think for the best.
Okay,
no.
Elsie, your allies worship you as a god for the next 4 days. Man, I can't plan this shit out. That's just so fantastic. Thank you guys for the retweets. Yeah, this one's not going to help you out. No blade within 1 mile can be sharpened for the next 1d4 weeks. So Sebastian's blade
Messing
ain't
with all
getting
my
sharpened
fun.
anytime soon. Yeah, that's.
Whales will find
Fine.
you slightly less interesting than they otherwise might have. But horses, on the other hand, will have a mild contempt whenever you're near.
Yeah,
Wild
well,
magic surges, they're bullshit.
So, in a nutshell, that's the kind of bullshit we
disagrees.
want there. You guys can keep retweeting. If we get to 30, we'll do some more. And of course, you can donate them as well for just £5. So if you want to chuck one at a specific player, you can name a player and give them a wild magic surge. It's a lot of fun. All right,
No, it
but
isn't. It's not fun. Don't-
not for you, fun for me. Elsie, so you all returned to the room. Virginia, you were about to tell me what Virginia has been up to.
He said I was his
to.
favorite, y'all.
He did say you were the leader, so that worked perfectly. I was like,
So Virginia
where'd you
has
go?
been keeping house.
Sorry, Virginia.
Getting to know all of the neighbors, making friends with as many of them as she can.
It's like suburbia, like perfect suburbia.
Yeah, she's slowly turning Carcossa into mini suburbia. There have
Mhm.
been little wars raged over, soggy bottomed sausage rolls.
Right.
And who didn't bring the right person to the party. And I think she's spent time seeking out kind of Law and Elsie and Sebastian and all these people from the original party that she wanted to impress, to be like, I'm an interesting person, check it out, come and hang out, we'll have a great time. Remember how shit has been up until now? Well, check it out, I've got this really cool house, it worked out well. She spent a good day painting her bedroom red, and then decided she hated it, and painted it a different shade of red. And so the bedroom has continued to be in an influx of never being finished. She can never settle on what she wants. And I think the last thing she's been up to recently was plotting her revenge against the jester. She doesn't forget what he did to the doctor, and she's deeply afraid that that fate is coming for her at some point. So she's been kind of plotting a political downfall for the jester. And that's been kind of cooking away in Carcossa suburbia.
Right. That's perfect. Your own little pocket of Carcossa has grown quite substantially since the
Suburbiosa,
first time that you
clearly.
Suburbiosa. I'm sorry, Adam, you're right. Suburbiosa.
Come on, everyone!
it's-
I only get
it's a-
chronic surges. I get something out of this.
There's a whole other season of play to be done within that little town of madness right there, which we'll have to get into another time. But yes, perfect. Law, I can only imagine how you've been spending your time. What have you been up to?
Laura's been practicing her craft and making her music with an almost obsessive fervor, like an opera singer practicing for the recital of her life. That it needs to be perfect because she knows once she is back, she will be working with blunt instruments. She won't have the freedom that she has here. So she's just been over and over and over trying to get that perfect crescendo where it continues to hurt and continues to traumatize so that the senses don't dull. She's requested that the doctor be there, almost a dog role, but she's given him back his eyes so that he can watch and learn. He's almost in the position that she was in back in her youth, and occasionally she will test him to see if he's picked it up, and if not, the eyes get repossessed and then he gets them back again.
It is very much a Theon. God, what's his name? The bastard guy.
Greyjoy.
Yeah, Theon Greyjoy.
Or any demonette from any Slanesh anywhere.
Yes, any demonette ever type relationship. He's with you wherever you go, and as you return, he is also next to you as well in the throne room. He is bound to you, quite possibly in a soon to be a literal sense. Let's see, Elsie, tell us how you've been spending your time in the art galleries of Carcossa.
She's been living in the art galleries and has written books, textbooks, newspaper articles. She's just been writing and putting in the yellow sign, whatever she can, to help teach people. If anyone happens to stumble into a gallery while she's in there, she shows them around, tells them about the wonderful things that they can find here and throughout all of Carcossa. She's been hardly sleeping. There's too much to look at, too much beauty to take in.
Mm-hmm. And finally, you felt that tugging on the back of your mind. And Mr. Odin, with a spout of wild magic, returns you to the throne room. 2 wild magic surges for the professor, as he loves them so much, and 2 for the king in yellow. I'll roll these here for you and for the king. So I'll do the first 2 for the king, and the last 2 for Professor Will.
A reminder to chat that 100% of our Patreon and 50% of all donations do go to paying the wonderful casts that you see here. So thank you so much for supporting them.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Well, let's see. The king in yellow. One side of his body is immune to normal missiles. Well, probably true. It's like
the shittest wild magic surge ever. Okay, I'm going to cast it on this sky. Yep, it's kind of blue now.
Okay, and the king in yellow's most valuable possession animates and attacks him. We'll get to that in a moment. And 1, 3, 2, 9 for Professor.
Rising up against the king in yellow.
I mean,
this is great.
Most valuable possession.
This is
This
is very Cthulhu. I'm not sure it's good, but Professor Wilkes is now wearing a deep sea diving costume with copper helmet. So you're wearing the full BioShock suit as you return. Very fitting for this.
That's how he keeps his sanity in. Just
yeah.
Here comes Wilkes. Plonk, clonk, clonk, clonk.
Oh, hold on a second. You want me to say something? I'll be about 20 minutes. Hang on while I take this shit off. It'll only take a while. Don't worry. I'll need somebody to help, actually. Can you get the hat off?
The second one is next person slain nearby sputters about like a deflating balloon. Well, this is fitting, really. So, essentially, you guys return with your various traumas, sanity losses, and pets, as the case may be in Law's case. And what you notice is that now. Reggie is also in the room as well. For sake of reference, he has been here. But now, Hank is here as well. He has that baseball bat, or whatever he had, that stick of wood with nails in it, in his hands. And somehow, he appears to be swinging it towards the king in yellow. This is, of course, his most valuable possession, his heart. And as he looks at you guys one last time, and Hank, there's just like tears in his eyes. He's beaten, bruised beyond belief, and there's almost no sanity left. And you just hear him muttering the name Betty over and over underneath his breath, like a madman. And as he swings the bat into the form of the Yellow King, you watch as the bat and Hank's hand where he was holding it begins to dissolve into the King in Yellow's insanely large form of the yellow robes that are tattered about his person. And you watch as slowly but surely Hank is as though he is being absorbed into the form of the Yellow King. And after what may be a minute or so of what looks to be the most agonizing and torturous pain one could endure, you see, in fact, you hear it, first of all, where there was before no discernible heartbeat. Suddenly, once Hank has been absorbed, you now hear a soft but rhythmic drumming from the breast of this skeletal creature. And it doesn't look as though it's particularly fazed by what just happened.
No.
What's that, Wilksy? Hank's the new heart of Carcossa.
Correct. And the little Timmy's in the well.
I knew it. My
Yes, that was a
goodness.
magnificent piece I saw on the 4th floor of the 3rd gallery. Yes, to be the one. It's just picturesque.
Pardon my lady.
It does appear during this as though you have a minute to chat together while the King is absorbing Hank.
Laur's just listening to that beat, just when it's over, she'll bow to him, bow to Elsie, and just stand there, just listening to that rhythm. Just, yeah, I can work with this.
Yeah, Elsie's got a faint yellow glow about her for some reason. I don't know why. It's just there.
I think for Law, this might have been like the sort of the rhythm track that was missing to the symphony. You know, there was never that or a bass line that was never quite there, and it sort of just suddenly makes sense. Like that was what was missing. There was something that wasn't right before.
Oh, you hear that? That's beautiful.
Absolutely.
Virginia, how are you reacting?
I think she is reflecting to all that time ago when they were at trial. Wait, no, that was like a few minutes ago. She's confused a little bit. And she's just recalling like what an utter failure Hank was. And just like, I'm not surprised he betrayed him. Pure treachery in that man's heart. Couldn't even stay faithful to baseball.
It's actually strange. The more you try and think about Hank, the harder it is to recall the details of who or what a Hank was. And maybe 10, 20 seconds go by, and each of you try and struggle on. That's a word which you think you've heard before, Hank. But what is a Hank? Maybe it was... maybe it was a place you've been to. No. And then
I see
that
vague
very
reference to
memory.
it in my notes, but
Yeah.
Hank is actually a cut of meat.
Oh, yes, perhaps that's what I read about.
No, that's a shank. I think you're thinking of the little bit of cloth you used to blow your nose.
No.
That's a
That's
hanky.
that's a small knife used in prisons. I think you're thinking of a metal vehicle driven in the war and that shot shell.
No, that's a tank. What you're thinking of is a container used to hold fish.
No, that's a plank. I think you're thinking, and so on for hours.
Yeah, right.
Because we're all on Twitter and we can do this shit for days.
I think
And
in
so-
Law's head, the
Go
word
ahead.
Hank becomes the sound of the heartbeat. That's
Yeah.
it becomes obscure, and it's not even a word anymore. It's just a sound.
Sound.
It's
Yeah.
that
No,
rhythmic
absolutely.
pumping sound.
Yeah.
Hey,
And so.
Elsie, you're
Okay.
looking real radiant, you know. There's no glow
Thank
about
you.
you. You're real
Yes, that does
beautiful.
seem. Well, I've discovered a whole new world. It's magnificent.
Would you like me to make some more art for you? I've been toying with the idea of combining the music and lay some canvases down. Maybe we can capture something.
Oh, I'm sure you could. I'm sure it'd be magnificent. I know the perfect spot for that. We could put it in like, the kitchen area.
Huh.
I just redid my kitchen. I'd love to see yours, Miss Elsie.
Oh, it's quite splendid.
You are
Wait till you
all
see the bathroom.
fools. You have not been anywhere. You have not done anything. You are just conscripted into a servitude more vile than you can possibly imagine. But you understand, even now, nothing.
I walked straight up
Hold
to
on a
him and
second, I'm
looking
going
in
to
the
take my
eye.
aqualung off because it's
Please,
it's very
that would
heavy.
make it easier.
And I'm going to take off my flippers because they're making it hard to walk around while I'm being denunciatory.
Flop, 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 flop.
Flop, 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 flop.
So
I peel off
dignity
my-
till the end.
Yeah, I'm going to peel it off. I've probably got like a stripy bathing suit underneath it. Not a one piece, like, you know.
Lil walks straight up to him, looks him in the eyes. You think I don't understand? You know what I understand? I take his hand and just dig my nail into the mark on his hand. This is what I am for. I belong. Nothing else matters.
You've offered acceptance. How lonely you must have been for that to be all he offered you. Hmm?
Some of us have simpler needs. Wouldn't that be nice, Mr. Wilkes?
Simple is best, I suppose.
For reference as well, you notice that Reggie seems to be not speaking, as though he's not really in a room with you guys either. And about the time that you sort of pay any attention to that person,
Well,
that
he's
you
getting
once-
re-educated.
Yes.
He's getting
that seems-
re-educated.
Yes, so we can appreciate art.
This
Truly, fully.
has your stink on it.
I beg your pardon.
Oh, you're the fucking queen, aren't you? Your Majesty.
Yeah. God.
This has your
Thank
stink
you,
on it. Your
God.
Majesty. Oh, no, it's God, isn't it? Fuck, that's so much worse,
You're
right?
most
Forget that
divine.
then.
Yes, you're welcome.
Your
Thank you,
Holiness.
Wild Magic
Yes, no,
Surge.
no, jolly good idea with the whole Reggie thing. Very well done.
I only hope that one day you'll re-educate me, Miss Clark.
Oh, don't worry. I'm plotting books and pamphlets and all sorts of paraphernalia on the matter.
I just can't get my bedroom right. Maybe it's because I need more art.
That's definitely the problem. You don't have enough art in your life.
Maybe I could help. Maybe what you are lacking is texture. We could combine. Maybe gesture to Reggie and look at Elsie. Would you like me to make him sing?
Oh no, he's learning right now. It's a very critical time in a person's life.
Well, in that
know,
case,
Miss
maybe
Belmont,
we could.
when I was young, I was gonna be a singer. I took lessons and everything. I even have points in it in my sheet. Never came up though.
Same with me in
maybe-
writing. Fancy that.
I'm surprised by the lack of library usage I got out of this entire campaign, frankly, considering the number of times I was actually in a fucking
for
library.
like 2 sessions.
I feel
would
like I lived
imagine-
in a library for an entire
Gotta go
session
to the
in a
library,
Roll
man.
library.
I thought there would be more literature involved, I'll be honest.
What you've got to do is go to the
I
library.
might just
You've gotta
roll a
imagine
library
one.
right now in this fucking cavern. No reason. No, there aren't any books. Alright, cool. At least I rolled it.
Maybe, Miss Belvon, we can set up a choir.
I like that. Maybe I could put your skills to the test if you would like me to.
Maybe I could cheer up Professor Wilkes.
I don't think anybody could do that.
Where's your book gone,
It's-
Mr. Wilkes?
I don't need the book anymore.
It's alright, I'll write you a new one.
You would replace. Yes, I'm sure. I'm sure you're. There is no. I'm going to use Grace. There is no such mode of address. It would just be capitalizing your, like, her. But I can't say that. Do that in speech. I'm sure, Your Grace, you have much to teach us.
And it's around this time that whatever the thing that Hank once was is no more, and never was, that the king turns his attention back to his subjects and gazes upon you all once more, posing the question.
You all understand what I have asked of you, do you not?
I give a very
What?
formal nod.
Very enthusiastic head nod from Virginia.
Probably a curl of the lip.
It smiles at each of you. If it could smile, at least. To you, Professor Wilkes, it looks as though it's giving you a knowing grin. As though it knows that you have no choice. And it knows that it's not, in fact, asking you anything, rather demanding your servitude. And it says,
Good. Then I shall return you to my sliver of a kingdom on earth, and you together will ensure that my kingdom once more is all of your world.
and with that, once more you find yourselves falling upwards, falling through time, space, through storms, through huge gales, and then through the darkness you see a light. It's a light you've seen before. It's one that's calling you home safely into harbor. At first its light is yellow, then it turns to red, greens and blues, back to yellow, and this beam casts itself out into the shadows which you find yourselves falling through. And once again, you look into the light of the lighthouse of Glumthorn Isle. The light sears your eyes, burning them and melting them away. But now you see the truth. You open those burnt lids and are surprised to find that you are back, it would seem, on Glumthorn Isle. The storm is passing. There's no signs of the great flood and descent into the waters that you had noticed before. Instead, you're standing together on a hill. That hill, upon that hill, rests the Virgil estate in all of its ancient magnificence. Down below, further onto the island, you can see the small village of Glumthorn. Don't see anyone down there, but the houses and village look to be intact, exactly as you saw it last. The wind is blowing, and there is the distinct and yet indescribable feeling that you are back on the planet which you were intended to exist upon. You feel once again a strange mortality overcome you as you become very aware of your humanity once again, an echo of being human and whatever that might mean by finding yourselves upon the island. You're back home. What do you do?
Well, I ain't staying in that hostel again, and I ain't staying at the doctor's, so I'm going up the hill, because I'm guessing the road is open to the house today.
Yes.
I'll just lean
Yeah.
against whatever is locally leanable and watch all of them with a little smirk. Just like
I hope it's a cow or like a sheep.
Or
Or
just like a
something.
fence,
Not like a
right?
fence post
Yeah,
or a
I was
tree.
imagining a fence rather than a cow.
No,
but
no, I feel,
Whatever
I feel
works.
like if, you know, like
Roll off
Casual
a
chassis
cow.
cow to lean on.
Whoa.
Cows of Cthulhu, season 2.
Yeah. It's a fence
That was
there.
meant to be our big reveal, Will.
I know, I'm sorry, spoilers.
Well, January's ruined.
I should also note that your pet is with you, Law. The doctor has come with you, and he is on his knees like a good dog, waiting by you. Reggie is also amongst your number, though still he appears speechless. Perhaps he's still learning something somewhere else. You see a car coming down from the Virgil estate. It's the same black car that you actually have chased and been chased by in the past. It's Mr. Virgil's car, though he's not the one driving it. Neither Virgil are the ones driving it. In fact, it's a vaguely familiar figure. You only met this man once, right at the very beginning of your time here on Glumthorn. It's Martin Randall, who is the Virgil estate lawyer and estate manager, I suppose. He is the one, in fact, who invited you in the very first place to Glumthorn. He's the one that sent your invitations. And he drives towards you and calls out, "Hello!" Flags you down, stops the car.
Randall, I
Elsie
imagine
had
you have
been-
been sent for us.
Yes, I have. It's finally good to let myself out, as it were. Strange being in this skin now, but needs be, I suppose. Good to see you all again in your fleshiness.
He certainly does know torment.
The master has his ways. Now, please, come with me and we'll get started. I have some good news for you all. Very good, in fact. You're all about to become incredibly rich.
I'm sure fame is just around the corner, yes?
Quite.
Do you jump into Mr. Randall's car?
I don't think jump is exactly right. I'll probably move as if dragged.
I imagine Virginia will open up the door for Elsie.
Yeah, Elsie would get in. She would have been kind of staring off into the distance, almost forlornly at being back on Earth. But the car having driven up and the door being opened would snap her out of it. She would go into the car and drag Reggie with.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It's becoming more clear to all of you that Mr. Randall now is possessed by one of the Yellow King's favorite subjects, the jester you've encountered before. He seems to very much be enjoying his new body, which he's been granted, let's say.
By
And he
peculiar
drives you.
coincidence, I actually have a shotgun in my diving suit, Virginia. If you'd like to,
Wouldn't mind.
I feel Elsie could drive the car quite well.
Yes, does a good question in chat. Does the doctor is he like tied to the back of the car? Is he brought inside? How do you
Put him
treat
in the trunk.
The doctor will run along
Bike ride.
side.
Okay.
Oh no, he's crawling, isn't he? He can't move.
He might be crawling.
I think drag
he
along.
might take
Yeah.
a couple of hours. Yeah.
Oh, I thought you meant you like shut the door on the lead and have him dragged along.
No, I think she'd have him in the car, but on the floor. But she's going to wait for everybody else to get in first, and then just kind of flick the nail in the back of his head, like a signal for him to go ahead. And
Okay.
she'll just be tapping on that as the car moves.
Okay. All right. So, you guys travel in the car with Martin Randall until you arrive back at the Virgil estate and enter inside. He leads you up to Virgil Senior's office, who I think only Professor Wilkes may have been inside previously during the
I did get a
escapade he
peek when I
had.
looked through.
Yeah,
the
I think you had a
peeking
peek.
eyeballs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, you had a look in. Elon's been in here, so it's a pretty nice desk. Everything is as it was left, essentially. You do actually know that there was a gun in the cabinet, but it may have been taken by one of you. Either way, you're let into the room. You can stand or sit, and Martin Randall stands opposite you, hunched over the desk, and he has a very elegant piece of paper before him. And he says, "Congratulations! You are now all the owners of the Virgil estate. And fortune, of course. You're going to need it with the stuff you're going to be getting up to, no doubt. So, well, we've already signed your name, seeing as we knew you'd want it. Just speed up the whole process. So, yes. Congratulations are in order. Does anyone want a drink?
I don't
Scotch,
imbibe.
please.
Oh, I can't just summon things here. Well, we'll fix that. We'll,
The bottle on the side, if you've forgotten.
Oh, right. He goes and fetches the bottle, pours a drink to anyone who wants one, and one for himself. Yeah, that's... Goodness. Who knew that...
It's an acquired taste, but the effects are rather pleasurable.
Oh, yeah. Well, be that as it may, we're going to need to get started. Now,
yes, we are,
I have a
Mr.
letter.
Randall. Before you get carried away telling us what you think we need to do, I'm afraid that we don't need your services anymore. You see, I got party planning under control. Law, Miss Clark, they got things that they can handle. Mr. Wilkes will keep an eye on us, so I'm sorry, but... And she pulls off her pearl necklace and wraps it around his neck and is going to try to strangle him because she can't take him in any more realities.
Law will watch this happening with a completely deadpan expression and meet his eyes and just go, "Ugh, new money."
Yeah, he you like go and throttle. Do you want to spin a crit on this?
Yes, I do.
Yeah.
So I
I
imagine
would.
she like looked at the paperwork and made sure it was intact, and then was like, "All right, we're done," and slowly began like uncoiling the necklace from around her neck.
To clarify, is your pearls, because you've done this before, is your pearls not on the traditional string, but on something like a garrote wire? Because that would add a whole new layer to your character.
They were upgraded in Carcossa.
Oh, they were. Okay, brilliant.
But yeah, originally they were on a string and they broke and they went everywhere.
Yeah, they've been returned to you. You throttle Martin Randall's death. He doesn't put up any fight whatsoever. His dead body sits on a chair before you. His head hangs limp. And a few moments later, it jumps up again.
I'm afraid it's not quite that simple. You see, the master, the king, his name must not be said, he rather thinks that you need some help on this one, so I'm going to be around for quite some time, working very closely with each and every one of you on a variety of tasks. But do, by all means, I very much enjoyed that. Yes.
Oh, well,
Like
if you
I was saying-
enjoyed that, we should play.
Quite. As I was saying, there is a letter for you all, but it is to be read by the mistress of our order.
And he passes it over to Elsie.
Elsie will take it and read it.
It reads, Inheritors of the Virgil estate, congratulations on your victory during the festival. While it is unfortunate to hear the fates of our late brothers in the land of the lost, it is best that the strongest survive. Now that you have returned, I expect to meet you at our main chambers in New York as soon as you are available. Mr. Randall will deliver the address to you. Needless to say, if we do not see you within a week, we will have to come and find you. Kind regards, the Gibbet King.
Yeah,
So Elsie reads that.
Mr. Wilkes, care to elaborate? I assume with your vast
Hold on a second.
knowledge.
I might actually get to roll a thing.
Yeah!
Why the fuck not? It's gone so well. Where are my skills? Yeah. Yeah, well, that's a pretty hard success. I think that's extreme,
Alrighty.
probably.
Yeah. You have access to this knowledge. Perhaps it's something you've read. Perhaps it's something that you learned while in Carcossa. By the way, thank you, Mr. Odin, who donates 2 wild magic surges to our jester friend. I'll get rolling those in just a moment. Yes, you've heard this name. You know that this person is probably of a similar inclination to Law, in fact, in terms of torture. Occultists whisper this name in secret circles. Perhaps that's where you've heard it. Your guess, well, I mean, your knowledge of who this is, which isn't to say that it's perfect, is that this would almost certainly be a Haster cultist operating within New York. The kind of person that you don't want to get on the wrong side of.
So kind
Yeah,
of like
what
what,
else would
Mr.
you-
Manganiello claimed to be.
Pretty much. Yeah, pretty much.
His name
Quite
has,
possibly again.
his name has come up before. Actually, I think in your new vocation, you're rather like him. He will be senior in the cult we are now bound to.
For now.
Double dipped in blood.
Do I sniff some plans for ascension? Oh, delightful!
Well, this is going to be a lot of fun.
So, New York it is, but we have some time before we need to go there. If you need to set your affairs in order and whatnot. Of course, I'm a humble accountant and lawyer. Should there be any troubles which arise for any of you in New York or indeed anywhere else, please do bear in mind that your progress is being tracked. I'll have to check in every now and again just to make sure that everything's going well. And should you need anything, then, well, come to me. Or just get it with your vast fortune. But I believe Mr. Gibbet will inform you of some more of the details of our operation here in the United States.
Well, this is going to be a fun road trip.
We might as well just make passage and get on with this.
Oh, you
Yes,
don't
the
seem
sooner
very
the better.
enthused.
Yeah, I am abundant with excitement.
Clearly. Maybe I should put a smile on his face.
Well,
Look at
I do
Elsie.
enjoy this new mode of both of you so much.
Well, I say we all get cleaned up and freshened up. We have to make a good impression on this new cult now.
Mm.
And then we can head off to New York.
Yes, first impressions are
Very
vitally important when meeting demagogues.
We can visit my lawyer. He knows where to get the best bagels.
Yes, let's definitely do that.
I think I could come up with a more imaginative gift.
But Professor Wilkes, don't forget you wanted to meet my lawyer. He's got the books.
I don't think any books your lawyer has matter very much anymore.
I wouldn't say that to the books.
Yes. Yes, I imagine. I imagine you wouldn't.
He looks so
So
So I-
I
sad.
need you all to get cleaned up.
I guess we need to
Oh,
get
and if
changed.
you need any food, then the chef here, she's great.
Mm.
Golly, I can't wait to meet her.
Maybe after we got changed and have a snack, we can go back to the original problem again in a boat off this island.
Yes, the storm should have fully cleared out by then. I don't see why transit would be a problem.
Yes, I don't imagine we'll have the same difficulty we did before.
Oh, no need to look so troubled. And I just, almost in a maternal way, just kind of stroke the side of his head and kind of chuck him under the chin.
It probably
It'll
comes
be
back
alright.
very, very, very sweaty.
Mhm. Yes, I think you should do with some sort of a bath. It'll all be okay.
I have faith.
I'm sure.
So do you guys go to get changed up, as it were, get cleaned up?
Mm.
I'll,
Yeah, I think
I'll consistently avoid looking at myself in any mirror while shaving.
I think Law would take her time of it, make it almost a ritual. And the clothing, would they have any choice of what they wore?
Sure, yeah.
Is this yeah, okay. She's gonna have a very smart suit, but deliberately tailored to not only make it obvious she's a woman, but really put the cat amongst the pigeons. It's still very much that masculine look.
Virginia takes an hour and a half and tries on like 12 different outfits. Goes back to the first one, then decides she hates that, and continues in this strain until someone stops and tells her she looks great, and then she'll stop.
I just put on whatever
would
the first
almost-
suit and tie that's in the wardrobe is.
That would almost certainly be Law. I think she's taken a little shine to Miss Turner and just wants to kind of hurry her up.
Oh, this one? Are you sure?
Oh yes, it's very
Not
beautiful.
the blue?
No, I think this complements your eyes more. Eyes are important. Isn't that right? I smirk.
Yeah, I
down
keep
at
forgetting that he's here.
Fucking monster.
I keep forgetting your fucking homunculus is in the room every time.
Yeah.
It's easy to forget him.
Quite. And Elsie has picked out a designer dress, new fresh cut, maybe slightly on the shorter side since it is the 20s. But in a bright shade of yellow.
Very avant-garde.
I'm sure it will be all the rage soon.
Quite.
Elsie, while you're going to get changed, you leave. I guess you just leave Reggie in a chair or on a bed somewhere, just to leave him.
Probably.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll spend one of my crits for this for Tom's sake. You hear about a minute. Well, okay, maybe 5 minutes or so after you go in there to go and get changed, you hear a pistol shot go off. Not like that. That was a laser gun.
I've just taken a mouthful of drink.
The pistol shot sounds rather like particle physics have been broken.
Oh my god!
In a realistic manner. You might imagine that a star battle starring a tiny baby gremlin thing had just kicked off. It had not. Dude, it's a pistol shot.
We are indulging in a little pew pew.
Meanwhile, on the Starship Enterprise, Captain Kirk.
I wonder what's on the
There's a good shotgun one, Will. The shotgun.
Yeah, no, I'm just having fun of it now. Yeah.
Rational suicide was somewhat diminished by the sound effects applied by the reality.
There you go.
Oh no, it's far too late now.
Finally, a sound I recognize. She puts her left.
I wonder what that could
To
have
be
been.
fair, Elsie's hearing may be entirely different from reality, so maybe she hears like pew pew pew.
Definitely possible at this point. But she'd pause. For a second, her hand would go to her gut where she was stabbed repeatedly and still isn't fully healed. And then she'd be like, "No, I'm a goddess now, practically. Okay, let's go investigate this." And she'd, be putting on her other earring and then going to find what the source of the noise is. Quietly, though. She'd be walking quietly just in case it's somebody bad.
You find Reggie on the chair that you left him, half his brains on the back of the wall, scribbled note in a furtive hand. He's quite clearly chosen a foolish way out of this. To think there even was a way out of this.
Reggie, she'll pick up the note and read it.
It's a note to his daughter, instructing her that he's left everything to her. His only wish is that you will deliver this letter to her and that he's sorry.
Well, of course I'll help his daughter out. Be a terrible person not to.
Fade to black. Okay. And so, is there anything else everyone's doing?
She will have a She will sketch down the scene though, so she could get an art piece commissioned of it, in a memoriam of Reggie.
Oh yeah, you have a suspicion that as you're back in Carcossa, you're going to be seeing him again. You don't think that there's any way out?
Oh no, but I might miss him a little bit occasionally, while on this horrid plane. So
maybe you can educate her in the manners of art.
Of course I will. She must have good influences.
Like
if
father,
she
like
wants to see her
daughter. So, all of you get changed and get dressed, and we see the group of you exiting the Virgil estate, the new owners of the Virgil estate, each of you with a distinctively different look upon your faces than the first time which you arrived on Glumthorn Isle. A yellow sign borne into each of your hands. Yes.
Would I be able to make it so that the doctor doesn't appear to be hurt in any way, so that he could walk alongside us and look normal to other people?
You don't have that power right now. But if you spoke to Master Randall or Jester about it, he'll hook you up with some essentially spells that you're going to need to perform such a thing. Right now, he's a miserable, worthless human. But you could, there's ways to There's wasted traffic, Dr. Stoat around, I'm sure. Just pop him in the trunk and whatnot. Yeah, for now he's very much a worm, but perhaps one day he will be more. So the group of you leave with Martin Randall, who drives you down to the docks, the same docks which you first entered Carcossa from. The village is empty and dead. No one else is around. But there is a ship waiting for you on the foggy old docks of Glumthorn Isle. And there is a crew. They look vaguely suspicious of what's happened here and as to why no one else is around. But after a brief conversation with Martin Randall, the captain of the boat appears to be assuaged. You notice that there's a fair amount of money which is transferring hands.
It's not
in order to
Captain
ask the
Woolscott?
questions. No. The last time you saw Captain Woolscott, he was dead, hanging upside down from.
I know, but this happens to many
Carcossa.
people around us, and
Right.
they just come back.
Yeah, I mean,
so
you never can know. These guys look fishy. Yeah, very good.
May I draw your attention to Law's pet?
Yeah, they're not going to ask any questions. That's a law. If you like cover him and let him walk on, they might think it's a dog or something. If there's like a blanket or coat over him or something, they're wise enough not to ask any questions of you. The sailors go about their business quite swiftly. Captain orders them to set sail and leave Glumthorn Isle behind you. And as you leave the island with a lot of memories of the island, but more visceral and vivid memories perhaps of the place that you wish to return to, at least some of you, Carcossa, and head out to New York to meet the Gibbet King, the senior cultist of this new organization with which you have found yourselves unwilling members of. That is where we're going to end tonight's episode, and indeed, the season of Tentacle Tuesday. Congratulations, everybody. Most of us made it out.
we did it, Mom.
And so that is where we'll leave it for now, but fear not. We will learn more of these ongoing investigations and adventures as we return in the new year for some more Call of Cthulhu, some more Tentacle
Holds up
Tuesday.
sign that reads, "Are we the bad guys?"
As I say, we're going to turn out to be the people we're investigating next time. That's what's
Well,
going to happen.
funny you should say that, actually. Funny you should say that. Because that very much seems like how this is going to go into season 2. I already know that Tom's character that he's going to be playing in the next season is planning on being a cultist investigator / like bounty hunter. So I very much suspect that we will see some of these characters again. But yeah, that's
Great. Well,
that's just where
since
it
we have
ends.
a little bit of time, what I'm going to
Yeah,
suggest
we'll
is
have
as
time.
we go around and we'll do the outros as normal. If you have any questions in chat about the game, about how we'll perhaps anything like that, throw them in and we'll answer a few of them. And then we shall disappear for now. So let's hop on over for now to Millie, to Amelia, to Madame Laure Belvon.
Bonjour.
Bonjour. Ça va?
Oh, très bien, merci à toi. Oh,
comme ça.
And that's
Don't be
that's
impressed,
all my
anyone.
French.
This is literally
No,
like
that's it.
GCSE level French.
Yeah,
But they're throwing back and forward at
literally
each other.
that's
That
all
could
the
be Dutch.
French that I can
Oh,
remember apart from
conversation.
Eddie. That and
For
Eddie
Americans
is
everywhere, they get taught
May
at
we.
the age of 13. So
Bien
Les
sûr.
plumes de ma tante, les plumes de ma tante près de la chaise de ma tante, as well you know. That's it. It's like those couple of sentences and all the Eddie Izzard sketches.
Eddie
That's all I
Izzard,
remember. Yeah. That was really, really good fun. I would never have anticipated Laura would have ended up where she did. Yeah, that was really cool to see her descend that way. And the fact that she ended up with quite a lot of sanity still there. And she pretty much made up her mind she didn't want to leave weeks ago. some of the stuff that has gone on in Carcossa and on the island had kind of tipped her into becoming the thing that she hated. So that was a really interesting mentality to explore. That poor doctor. Oh God, he's gonna have a dreadful time.
Actual war crimes.
Yeah, because what she really wants is somebody who can walk alongside her and appear to everybody else to be completely normal, but really is not.
Well,
And
you can
is
buy a lot of things
terrified.
in New York with money. So
I thought it was over, but apparently it has some new tricks to show me. Yeah.
your first
that was
season on
really cool.
Encounter Roleplay, though.
I know! It was so cool, and thank you so much for such a warm welcome. This has been huge amounts of fun. Huge amounts of fun, and I can't thank you all. I'm so sad that we haven't got the full cast here today, but
We
I love you
tried,
both.
but
I hope you feel better soon.
Yeah, what even is a Hank?
don't start that again. So we have a question. That's a good point to ask it. Is what were the inspirations for each of the player characters? And that's from Pope World. So what was the inspiration for Lore, if you had any?
The inspiration for Lore is actually a character I wrote as a backup for my first ever Call of Cthulhu campaign. And I never ended up getting to use her. The inspiration was essentially a picture that I found of just this really disheveled kind of like, she's just in her underwear smoking a cigarette, and I was just like, she looks interesting. And I kind of rhythmed it back from that as to how she would be. But I love the idea of exploring the mind of somebody who's grown up with privilege and rejected it and is just looking for the simple pleasures in life. But actually, a lot of what made her by the end of the campaign is the stuff that happened after I missed those 2 weeks and she ended up in the dungeon. And as it was happening, I was like, yeah, she grew up rich. She would have been kidnapped a bunch of times. This is not her first rodeo. And that ended up informing a hell of a lot of the character stuff. That became a lot of her explaining her backstory that I hadn't quite fleshed out. So she was very much a work in progress up until about the halfway point, I think. That was a really cool way to do it. Because I think as an actor, I tend to maybe overthink characters at the beginning. Like I have to understand how their minds work all the way through from the beginning. It's really cool to build something like that as it goes along a little bit. That's new to me, and I think I'll be using that in my work as well. So thanks.
Lindy, not your first rodeo.
Nope. Not my first rodeo at all. This was super duper fun. I had a blast. I love Carcossa. Carcossa treats my characters pretty well, I must say. That's all if you haven't watched or listened to, I can't watch it, Tomes and Tentacles, definitely do that, because there's a little voyage into Carcossa there where I just get promoted every time I visit. I love it. It's a great place. Yeah. Inspiration for Elsie. I was actually kind of stuck on what I wanted to play for this season. I had gotten the premise and I was like, oh man, I don't know what I really want to play. I was like, do I want to be an artist? And I was like, no, I don't have enough art terminology to bluff my way through that really. And I thought about being a dancer because I love dancing, but it just didn't sit right. Then I got I thought about art thief, but then art critic hit, and I was like, ooh, I could do that. I could be a
Oh no.
Oh no.
Oh, there you go. You're back.
Yeah, it was fine. But yeah, I thought art critic, I can do that. That's really judgy. No problem. So I melded the art thief and the art critic into.
Why not both?
She's going to be, kind of insane, but she hides it. And so as her sanity is lessened, it's more just her true self kind of coming out rather than her losing her. Can't keep up the veneer anymore of just being an art critic. Yes, she's a loony bin art thief. So I was very excited by that. And that was pretty much my inspiration, was just a melding together of vague ideas that I had until I came out with something I liked.
I love the details you put in about her house. And all the different stuff in the different rooms. That was cool.
Never want to go in your fucking kitchen.
I know it's the bathroom you don't want to go into.
I don't want to go in any of the rooms in your fucking house. It's all going to be Goya everywhere. Wall-to-wall fucking black paintings. That's what's in your house.
I'm so tempted to actually
You've got
make
Never
you a
and
painting
Hijo
now.
beside your bed, and you have a little other with it every night.
So,
Oh, yeah.
speaking of slightly insane and covers it up, Adam.
What the hell?
He doesn't hide it.
I'm really open about that, actually. Yeah, this has been excellent, super fun. I had a great time with it. I really like hubris in my characters, so I like giving them a really offensive trait that will prove worthless later, like overweening arrogance. So they can lose all of that and end up, if they survive, a sort of a broken shell.
That happened really quickly for Wilkes, though, right?
Well, it happened much quicker than I was expecting it to, because of the fucking Agatha thing. If that hadn't happened, I was planning it for somewhere mid-Carcossa, but because I murdered an old woman once, long ago.
That's a confession,
Sunspot
ladies and
Isle
gentlemen.
has a lot to answer for.
So because of that, I had to like expedite that really quickly, and then I was just basically hanging on mentally thereafter, and then I had to do horrible things to get Hank committed to the heart. So that just
That was rough.
that meant the good thing about that was that meant that I could have no illusions when talking to Hastor, as opposed to being offered something. I know I'm not going to get anything. I know I'm going to get nothing in the same way that everybody's going to get nothing. I just won't be tricked about it. And so that it means I can be very fragile mentally, very hollowed out by the end, which is always the best place to be if you live.
And Will, what about you? And any favorite moments of the campaign that you had no idea were coming?
Oh yeah, no, I had a great time overall. It was so much fun to be back playing.
Oh no.
That was always fun. Oh shit! Man, that's going. But hey, it lasted as long as we really needed to. No, I had a great fun. Unexpected moment. Definitely didn't see Agatha dying. Definitely, that was so much fun to get to roll with and throw bones to chat every now and again. I actually think Agatha is one of the saving graces, as well as the doom of Sebastian, seeing as that medallion popped up and helped him out a little bit there with sanity. And I think if there is a character who's redeemable in terms of coming back from the darkness in any way, I mean, there's no way to really get out of a situation like this, but it would be Wilkes, right? He is the one that maybe could get word to I don't know, some kind of help about what's going on.
I imagine him taking a job as like a cryptic crossword writer and like has put a message into this cryptic crossword.
It's actually interesting that you say that, because there's a town in Sunnydale where I'm going to be the librarian next, and I'm going to fuck you all.
So yeah, Agatha was definitely unexpected. The whole courtroom drama turned out way better than I had planned, so that was all part of the improv and acting from you guys. That was a lot of fun. And really, with Carcossa, it's great. You just get to throw you guys into various different situations and see what happens. So that's the fun for me, is how many weird, annoying, terrifying, gross NPCs can I come up with to get to play with you guys with. So I had a lot of fun. I had a lot of fun with Dr. Stowe. I did not expect Dr. Stowe at all to happen in the way that Dr. Stowe very much happened.
World's worst BDSM sex boy. You mean that guy?
Yeah.
Sorry,
question mark?
Sorry. Yeah, no, it's good. Oh, I'm happy that he ended up in.
Hey, we get it. People get lonely. It's fine. Whatever.
That's what happens when you lie to people.
Yeah. It's cheaper than getting batteries every few weeks.
It's called penance.
I say. But your book and the girlfriends, that was a funny little moment that you guys threw in.
Oh, I loved them. The book and the feather duster.
Yeah.
Oh, that was hilarious.
Somewhere that's still happening, I think.
Yeah.
It's written into a children's book by Elsie, and just to indoctrinate kids from a young age. It's got the yellow sign just hidden in the background somewhere.
Nice. Your NPC work is insane.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, I enjoyed it.
While we lazily focus on one character per session.
Well, you know who's still around? Is Domenico still around somewhere?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, God.
It's true.
Yeah.
I'm so glad I'm not playing this character next time.
But yeah, for like chat to have I forget who it was, but somebody requested that NPC, the Feather Duster NPC.
Oh yeah, yeah.
And for that in that episode, that was my favorite character, and that was just out of nowhere. That's so cool to be working with people who can do that.
I like the Jester a lot.
Oh,
Yeah.
good, yeah.
Oh, he was great.
Yeah. No, he just.
So how much like
NPCs
Cicero
become
from
more-
Skyrim was like
Yeah.
the idea of that guy?
It became not at first, but it definitely became more channeled once everyone realized that. Once everyone was like, "Is it like, wait a minute, yeah, let's do that." A lot of it, like if you guys react well to an NPC or to a character or something, that means that I get to jam it in the door more and more, so you guys have fun with them. So that's kind of what happened with Jester and with Dr. Stowe, who really just had a really bad time with it, but it's quite
Dr.
fun.
Stowe did not have even the beginning of a good time. The entire series of it, like
the thing.
even
If he hadn't betrayed them, Law would have had no interest in him whatsoever. But she took that sort of thing really, really seriously. If she gives her trust to people, she does that rarely, and so it's serious repercussions if not.
Yeah, there you go.
don't betray
but no,
the sadomasochist. Sounds good.
He made her into you guys. The roles
You made
her
her
into
into
Sado.
that.
Her childhood
You
made her
made
into
it.
this. Her childhood
You
made
chose
this.
this path.
Yeah.
All right. So we all need therapy. This has been established. So for my part, Virginia was just based on the whole classic trope of did she do it in the 1920s with there was a lot of female killers back then, which is one of my academic areas of study. But I also just kind of wanted to play Roxy Hart because I thought it would be hilarious, and then it was a little bit like Morello from Orange is the New
Oh
Black,
yeah.
who just is psychotic and has this whole vision of what the world is that is not
He
how the world
definitely
is.
She
definitely did.
100% did it.
Obviously, the inspiration for Hank came from just Gareth basically playing himself.
But yeah, I think that answers that. We've had a couple of questions about Pop Cthulhu. I know a few of us have played it. We enjoy it. We like Cooler Cthulhu on the channel because I think it's a little bit more punishing, which is a little bit more fun.
Well, Pop Cthulhu is like action Cthulhu. It's like you don't die nearly as easily, nor do you go insane, and your guns actually hurt shit rather than bouncing off pathetically.
Yeah,
They can
we
both
like
be, like,
both
having played
systems.
both extensively, they can both be equally terrifying and as deadly. It just Pulp Cthulhu as it is, it's a lot more pulpy. You get a lot more of those badass action sequences going on as you're because you still only have
We
like
still
less than
managed
30
to get some of those
HP.
in, right?
So yeah.
The car blowing up of the car and that whole thing was really cool, but I like that that was just a little bit of spice into the story rather than the whole of the story.
Fun. This episode was good actually. But yeah, no, that was great. I loved all of the characters, and I'm glad to watch all of the characters as well. Like that's a fun thing about a Call of Cthulhu campaign, right? They start as one character, and by the time you're at the end, they're a totally different person and a totally different character, and that's just I imagine very fun for you guys to get to play, but also really fun for me to watch and get to mess around with. So yeah, it's great.
I love how much control the roles have over that.
Right. Yeah.
That it's not an active decision some of the time. It's
I survived a stabbing.
That was a great scene, and also all the artwork coming in from
Voice
viewers
Maker.
on videos,
Yes.
Voice Maker,
Oh,
and,
so good.
so awesome.
Yeah.
So
Hold on, which one do I have? I have this one.
Multiple stabbings.
Look at that. I think that was our very first one from Void Smoker.
That was mad.
Mhm.
Honestly, the thing about this
So
fan
cool.
art is, and I think we all saw that and we're like, wow, that's incredible. And then the next one's less good. But then the one after that's really great.
The Agatha one's amazing. It's that
Why
little-
am I a vampire in that? I walked up behind her. I didn't drop like a spider from the ceiling. Fucking Void Smoker.
Art enhances.
It's called artistic license. I'll be writing about it in my new book that I'm publishing.
Careful, she might
beginning of
educate you.
Yellow Pink.
Mumbling insane art critic nonsense.
So it's okay. I've been rewarded by the chat with more sanity. So thank you, chat.
Yeah, you definitely needed that.
Yeah, I'm
so
excited
yeah.
for next season as well. I'm excited to see some of these characters maybe turning up as NPCs and whatnot. So, yeah.
So, dates for the diaries are coming up on the 17th of December. We have our Cthulhu Christmas Holidays December special, which is this crew
Tentacle
and
mess.
a whole heap of maybe the other crew, if I can twist arms and tentacles to get them in. Please come along. It's going to be a lot of fun. I think I'm aiming for it to be in the same time slot as this, but we'll do a nice announcement and graphic and things so you can know exactly when and where you can catch us in a crazy Christmassy special. After that, we will return in January for Tentacle Tuesdays, and it is looking like the debut will be the 21st of January. So until then, you may plot our downfalls and coalesce as the Chaos Chorus. Coming up this week, we have Unhallowed's finale on Thursday. The Meat Grinder that I already mentioned is on Saturday, 2 till 5 Eastern, raising money for suicide prevention. And on Sunday, join me and Lindy 3 till 4 p.m. for Roleplay Roundup. We'll be talking about the season, new games, conventions, and more. That is all my plugs, so I'm just going to go quickly around the cast so you guys can plug anything that's coming up for you. Let's start with Will, and we'll go clockwise round.
Yeah, if you want to follow me, follow @EncounterRP on Twitter to keep up with all the stuff that's happening on the network as we're heading into Christmas. It's going to be a busy time, but in the new year, there's a new season starting, all new shows, and castle. Exciting stuff is going to be happening. Tonight at 8 p.m. Eastern, I'm on the Cobalt Press Twitch channel, so if you want to go over there and follow Cobalt Press, twitch.tv, I'll put it in chat, /Cobalt Press. We're there tonight with the World Tree Burns crew. Actually used to be on this channel, but the season 3 has been on the Cobalt Press channel. So yeah, that's what I'm up to tonight. And like I say, Encounter Roleplay Networks, where all that good shit happens. You can come follow the Discord. We've got Meat Grinder happening on the 30th, right? Sign up for that. And I'll see you guys over there. But yeah, thanks for watching. Thanks for being such a great audience. Like this season in particular, I felt like both the Twitch chat and the YouTube comments have been really nice, really encouraging, and they really mean a lot to us to keep us going.
Yeah.
So, yeah,
Actually, on the
appreciate
subject of Discord, before I forget, we do have open casting calls for next season. Our Game of Thrones one is just closed, but we still have Zweihander open, and I think there's going to be new ones coming up very soon, just trying to book things in and get that organized. So if you want to play with us, go and check that out. And we will be returning with more Meat Grinders for you to sign up for in January as well.
Yeah.
Amelia, anything for you to plug, friend?
Not yet. I've been working on a lot of video games recently, none of which I can talk about, but maybe some stuff soon. But until then, I'm going to be Twitch streaming hopefully a fair bit over Christmas because it's finally starting. I've cursed it now, haven't I? Without even finishing the sentence. It's looking like my diary's a bit more quiet. It's now going to explode. But not quite sure yet which days I'm going to be streaming, but follow me over on Twitter. I'm there as Amelia Tyler, and I will tweet when plans are planned. But hopefully there'll be quite a few games being played between now and the beginning of the year.
Awesome. And Lindy?
Yeah, you can follow me, Line Laugh of Lindy. Definitely check out Death's Curious finale this week. It's going to be really good on Thursday. Every week on my channel, Monday, Tuesday, you can find Mondays in Exandria and Mists of Ravenloft, so super spooky stuff on Tuesdays. This Saturday on my channel from 10 a.m. to noon Eastern, we'll be having our once-a-month Teenagers from Outer Space. It's twice this month, surprise, and we'll be doing some giveaways from Artelsorian Games of the PDFs and a signed copy that the cast is going to sign at PAX Unplugged. So definitely show up for that, watch it. It's before the Meat Grinder, so you can have just a full day of super fun stuff. And also a podcast that I'm in just came out this past Sunday, Tales from a Hollow World. It's only about 25 to 30 minutes long, so perfect for little commute times. You should definitely go check it out on iTunes, give us a review, let us know what you think. It's also on YouTube, closed captioned, so it can be more accessible to everybody. And yeah, that's about it. Just check that out. If you're going to be at PAX Unplugged, say hi to me, because I'll be there, and I want to say hi to people. So yeah, that's it.
Awesome. And Adam?
I stream full time, so you can catch me on Call of Cthulhu on Twitch. I'm still stuck in Bloodborne, so that'll probably go on for weeks. I'd like to say won't. I might play other games, but I'll probably just be running back to Lawrence over and over and over again till I start self-harming. So if that floats your boat, you can come and check me out. I might not play that occasionally, but I probably will.
And I can find my mute button. There we go. Yeah, I think that is everything from us for today. Thank you all so much for being here. We're going to go and take a look at who we can raise, so we can go and visit some more, maybe TTRPG, maybe something else, and bring you all with us. Until we see you again, try not to roll too many nat ones, because we want to be there laughing when you do. Good night, everybody.
Ah.